Good morning, all of you. In last session, we have seen industrial dispute, what are industrial dispute, and what are different causes of industrial dispute, and different forms of industrial dispute in the forms of strikes, lockouts, gherao, boycotting, and all. So today we are going to see about what are the different measures to address or to settle these disputes, because see, industrial settlement of industrial dispute is very necessary for the growth of industries as well as growth of the economy of a nation. Actually, if we see it on a larger scale, it will influence the national economic growth if we don't settle the industrial dispute on timely manner and in a corrective or positive way. So, industrial dispute to cover up the solution, some mechanism are voluntary measures and some are statutory measures. So we'll see one by one. The first of all is what are the voluntary measures given to us for the settlement of industrial disputes. See, different types of voluntary measures will cover collective bargaining by trade unions, standing orders, code of discipline, and so on. So, collective grievance procedure, these are the voluntary measures of settling the dispute. These are voluntary, and any industry employer and employees together can constitute any of the platform to solve their disputes or to solve their matters. So this is voluntary measures of industrial dispute. And statutory methods of settling any dispute is like conciliation, works committee, arbitration, adjudication, and finally the labor courts and labor and national tribunals. So today we are going to focus on the voluntary measures. Collective bargaining. Actually, collective bargaining term is first of all coined by Sydney and Bertrand in their book Industrial Society in 1897. Actually, what does collective bargaining means? Collective bargaining is when both the parties, the employer and employees, both the parties together sit and together talk about the problems and mutually find out any conclusion and mutually come to a mutual agreeable points. When they reach at mutual agreeable points, it is known as collective bargaining. Collective bargaining because the employees or the representatives select some members as a bargaining agent and they bargain with the employers in a collective way or mutual way. So this is collective bargaining. It handles a lot of problems, a lot of डेली बेसिस जो डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं इंडस्ट्रीज में, उसको ये एड्रेस करती है, उसको भी सॉल्व आउट करने का कोशिश करती है. So this is collective approach of solving any dispute. The next one is trade union. Yes, strong trade union can prevent the industrial dispute in a very effective way. So if there are effective employees union, they should be strong and strengthen trade union also, because if one party is less efficient or less strong in comparison to the employees union or the other party, then maybe one can dictate their terms and conditions. So the strong union can effectively address or redress the grievances or whatever the problems related with industrial relationships, and can maintain a harmonious relationship inside the organizations or the factory. So it is about the trade unions. Now the next one is Joint Management Council. See, Joint Management in Industrial Policy Resolutions 1956, Joint Management Council has been recommended. The Joint Management Council consisting of representatives of management, technicians, workers, and as well as management and workers, different people from the different categories of employees together come in the Joint Management Council, and any industry which having 500 or more employees can constitute this JMC. JMC have equal number of representatives from both employers as well as management. It can be minimum, it can be 6, and maximum it can be 12. So if 12 representatives from employee side, so there should be 12 representatives from employer side as well. The JMC actually look after 3 points. These are information sharing, consultation, and administration. So normally the JMC's decisions are related with working conditions, training, holiday schedules, formalism, standing orders, वेलफेयर, सेफ्टी, इन सारी चीज़ों से रिलेटेड इनके डिसीजंस होते हैं. डिसीजंस ऑफ द जेम्स शुड बी यूनानिमस, यानी both the members or the representatives of the both the parties should agree on that particular point and it should be implemented without any delay. Again, James should not encroach any of the jurisdictions of the work committee. So work committee is what? Work committee is a voluntary platform of settling the industrial dispute where 100 and more than 100 employees are there. You have to settle a work committee. So after this industry में work committee भी है, तो क्योंकि work committee तो रहेगा ही, ये statutory measure से कहीं भी 100 या 100 से अधिक एम्प्लॉय है तो आपको वर्क कमेटी गठित करना है. तो अगर वर्क कमेटी और जेएमसी दोनों भी है तो जेएमसी शुड नॉट इंक्रोच एनी ऑफ द jurisdiction of the work committee. वो दोनों अलग अलग अपने अपने jurisdictions में काम करेगी. The member of the JMC should be given proper training and the representatives of workers to the JMC should be based on nominations by the recognized union. यानी the members of JMC should be nominated by the recognized unions. Now द जेएमसीज हमने पहले ही कहा था कि जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जहाँ पे 500 से अधिक लोग हैं वहाँ पे जेएमसी आप वॉलंटरीली गठित कर सकते हैं और ये गठन किया ही जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ द साउंड रिलेशनशिप टू एस्टैब्लिश अ साउंड रिलेशनशिप इन इंडस्ट्री. नाउ स्टैंडिंग ऑर्डर्स. Standing order means rules and regulations which govern the conditions of employment at the workplace. So, any rules and regulations, the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 provides for the standing orders, and the standing orders should be constituted in those undertakings where 100 more workers are working. Standing order actually formulates certain rules, regulations regarding classification of employees like temporary, contractual, permanent employees, hours of work, holidays, pay days, what will be the wage rate, shifting work, attendance and late coming, after that leave rules, temporary stoppage of work, and then finally termination, suspension and disciplinary action. इन सारे मुद्दों से रिलेटेड चीज़ों पर स्टैंडिंग ऑर्डर में अपने रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस एक तरह का ये रूल बुक होता है. एंड when once both the parties, representative from both the side together sit and together constitute and together constitute different points of standing orders, and once these points have been written down, these standing orders are sent to the officer, to the actually the labor officer actually act as certifying officer over there, and these once this standing order is formulated they are sent to the certifying officers. Once it is certified it is actually required to be pasted over different prominent places of the premises so that everybody can see to it, and if you violate any of the conditions then it will invite the penalties or the whatever the punishment is there you have to. So employer and employees both are binding with the standing orders regulations. So standing order is binding for both the parties, and finally there are so many amendments in the standing order. Yet 1982, I think 1982 is the latest amendment in standing order, and in the last amendment it also provides for subsistence allowances for those employees who are suspended during the domestic employment. So it will also provide the subsistence allowances. After that, grievance procedure. Yes, why grievance procedure? Grievance means complaints. Complaints or anything. It can be the real complaints. It can be the imaginary or which is just felt conflict is there. So if there any kind of grievances or complaints is there among the employees, the employer's duty is to find out if there is any grievances and what are the reasons behind these grievances. If it is just a misunderstanding, then they have to communicate it through joint forum. They have to communicate it to the representatives of the union that these are our planning to settle down particular problems and particular things. So no need to think negatively about this. So grievance procedure actually क्या होता है कि अगर कोई भी कंप्लेन है तो सबसे पहले उनके एटीट्यूड से, उनके काम करने से, उनके काम काज करने से, उनके बॉडी लैंग्वेज से भी आपको ग्रीवेंसेस का पता चलता है. तो फर्स्ट ड्यूटी इज टू फाइंड आउट इफ देयर इज एनी ग्रीवेंसेस. If you find out that there is any grievances, then there are several steps like finding out the grievance topic, and then documentation, and you have to go through the several documents and several actions which have been taken because of that particular complaints or grievances. Then you can meet, mutually talk, you can settle a time for the meeting, and then you can mutually talk, and then you have to timely redressal of that particular grievance is very necessary in order to settle the harmonious approach in the industries. So grievance procedure is another way of solving the dispute in any organization. A model grievance procedure had been suggested by the Labour Conference, by the Indian Labour Conference in 1958, which suggested different points for settling down the grievances, finding out the matter of grievances, then giving the notice to the employees, and then scheduling a particular time for the meeting of both the parties, that both the parties can together find out the problem and what can be the possible solutions for all these grievances. So these are the grievance procedure model has been provided by the Indian Labour Conference, and that has been followed, and that is also voluntary. That means it is a voluntary way to settle the dispute, and it is also a mutual method, mutually how the parties can come to a conclusion. Now the last one is code of discipline. Code of discipline is also talking about how to promote the industrial peace in any organizations. The main objectives of the code of discipline is to maintain peace and law and order in any industry, promote constructive criticism at all levels of management and employment, avoid work stoppage in industry, how the secure the settlement of disputes and grievances by mutually agreed procedures, avoid litigations, and then facilitate a free growth of trade unions, how the trade unions can flourish, and how you're going to recognize the trade unions, and eliminate all forms of coercion, intimidation, pressurizing employees for anything, violations of rules and regulations governing industrial relationship. तो इन सारी चीज़ों पे काम करते हैं कोड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन. तो कोड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन एक्चुअली द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ कोड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन, जो सिद्धांत है कोड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन का, वो है कि जब भी आपका कुछ भी कोई भी मैकेनिज्म फॉलो किया जा रहा है इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट को सॉल्व आउट करने के लिए, सेटल करने के लिए, तो देयर शुड बी नो स्ट्राइक्स एंड लॉकआउट्स इन बिटवीन, and that also without any prior notice. No unilateral action should be taken in connection with industrial matter. कोई भी industrial matter है तो कोई unilateral action नहीं लिया जाना चाहिए. That should be with the mutual talk होना चाहिए, mutually agreed होना चाहिए किसी point पे, वही action लिया जाना चाहिए. Employees should not also not utilize any go-slow tactics. I mean, they are coming to the work, but they are doing a little bit of their परफॉर्मेंस, जो भी उनकी क्षमता है, जो भी उनका टास्क है, वो उसको प्रॉपरली नहीं कर रहे, थोड़ा बहुत काम करते, कोई को गोस्लो टैक्टिक भी नहीं करना चाहिए. कोई डेलिबरेटली जानबूझकर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के किसी प्रॉपर्टी को, बिल्डिंग को, मशीनरी को आप डैमेज नहीं कर सकते हैं. एनी एक्ट्स ऑफ वायलेशंस एंड इंटिमिडेशंस आर नॉट सपोर्टेड बाय द कोड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन. सो इनका मेन मेजर प्रिंसिपल यही सब है कि इन सब चीज़ को कैसे रोक सकते हैं, how to utilize the existing machinery of settling the disputes, and the last one is actions that disturb the cordial relationship between the employer that should be avoided. So these are the major voluntary methods of settling the disputes. Later on next session will go and will cover the statutory measures of redressing the industrial disputes. So today I am winding up this session with all these voluntary measures of settlement of industrial disputes, and normally the major focus is on voluntary settlement of dispute only, because if you are not voluntarily able to solve out the dispute, that means the bitterness between the parties are somehow it can be said that it is more I think alarming. The situation is more alarming, and then we have to go for the statutory measure, that is work committee, conciliation, arbitration, adjudication, labor courts, and then labor tribunals and national tribunals. So we are going to cover all these points in the next session about the statutory measures of the settlement of industrial disputes. Till then, take care, stay safe. Thank you.